The last part of this section, we're going to talk about factoring monomials. Now, a monomial is a number, a variable, or the product of a number and one or more variables raised to whole number powers. So a monomial is basically one term. So any of these terms you see down here are examples of monomials. A monomial might also just be a number like 7 or just a variable like x. But as long as it doesn't include addition and subtraction, that qualifies as a monomial. So it says, we learned to write prime factorizations of numbers using factor trees. Now our prime factorizations will include variables too. So it says factor the monomials, and to do that we're going to factor the coefficient using factor trees, then factor the variables. So I'm going to actually want to expand this as much as possible. So right now I have 36 x to the 4th times y. And I want to use factor trees to factor this, expand it as much as I can. So the only difference between this and what we were doing before is now there are variables included. So I'm just going to take my coefficient, 36, and I'm going to make a factor tree for that first. So maybe I start with 12 times 3, and then 12 can be 4 times 3, and then 4 is 2 times 2. So I circle the ends, and my prime factor, that expanded would be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So I've expanded 36. And now I want to include my variables. So x to the 4th, that can really be written as x times x times x times x. And then y, there's only one of them, so that's just y. Oopsies, I can't see that. There it is. Okay, so that's what they mean by factor. It means expand it in terms of its prime factors. Some of you might be asking yourself, why aren't I writing this as 2 squared times 3 squared times x times x times x times x times y? Since we kind of got rid of the exponents for the variables and expanded it, I'm just going to keep it fully expanded. Technically, it wouldn't be wrong if you included the exponents, though. Okay, next one. I have 21n to the 5th. So I'm going to take 21 and factor it. I'm using my factor trees. 7 and 3. Oh, those are both prime. So actually, I'm done with my factor tree. So I'm just going to write 3 times 7. And then n to the 5th is n times n times n times n times n. And it's factored. It is expanded. Lastly, I have 18x squared times y cubed. So 18 I could break up into 9 and 2 first, or 6 and 3. And then 9 is 3 times 3. Circle your ends. I'm going to rewrite 18 as 2 times 3 times 3. Just came from these numbers here. And then I need to include my variables. So I have x squared. That's just x times x. And then y cubed is y times y times y. And there we have our factored monomial.